afternoon and welcome to the Media News and Voice of the People TV. I am Fina Okechukwu. The headlines. Immigration briefly detained Senator Natasha in Abuja. Troops for Boko Haram attack kill commander in Borno. WFP warns of food aid suspension in Northeast. Tinubu APC governors meet before NEC meeting. PDP governors met ahead of NEC session. Lateef Jakonde Memorial Lecture calls for media responsibility. In business, FG welcomes rebased GDP, Q1 growth data. In sports, Falcons touchdown in Rabat for final. And in the world of entertainment, Burna Boy sets Nigerian record on Billboard 200. Now the news in details. Senator Natasha Akpotiuduaghan was briefly detained this morning by immigration officials at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja while attempting to board a flight to the United Kingdom. The lawmaker who represents Kogi Central in the Senate was reportedly informed that her name had been placed on a watch list, allegedly at the request of the leadership of the National Assembly. Sources say she was traveling with her husband to attend her stepson's graduation ceremony in the UK when immigration officers stopped her at the departure terminal, causing a brief stir at the airport. The incident comes amid reported tensions between Senator Akpotiuduaghan and National Assembly leadership. The senator confirmed the incident in a brief statement but declined to give further details. In another development, troops of the Nigerian military have foiled an attempted infiltration by Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists into Monguno town and Bita community in the Lake Chad region. The midnight operation led to the neutralization of several insurgents, including a top commander. A senior Cape commander, identified as Ibn Khalid, was killed along the group's cameraman during a fierce gun battle in Bita. The clash erupted as Nigerian army and the troops engaged the terrorists while repelling the attack. In a statement, the theater commander of the Northeast Joint Task Force Operation Hadinkai, Major General Abdusalama Abubakar, confirmed that 17 other terrorists were eliminated in separate operations across Sambisa Forest, including areas in Madagali local government area of Adamawa State and Kaga in Borno State. Meanwhile, the North Central Youth Professionals have commended the armed forces of Nigeria for their recent decisive military operation that foiled an attempted terrorist infiltration from Zamfara into Niger State. In a statement jointly signed by the group's president Sunday Diko and secretary Hassana Danladi, the organization praised the efforts of the military, particularly troops under Operation Fansayema. The group highlighted the swift and successful operation carried out on July 22 near Inana village in Rijau local government area of Niger State, describing it as a major step in enhancing regional security. In the meantime, some communities in Ruwan Bore Ward, Gusau local government area of Zamfara State, have staged a peaceful protest over the incessant attacks by armed bandits. The protesters who marched to the government house in Gusau were drawn from Ruwan Bore, Mada, Wonaka, Feimahe, Kanua, and Tudunwada communities. They unanimously appealed to the state government and security agencies to intervene urgently, calling for stronger measures to protect lives and property in the affected areas. This report says that the United Nations World Food Programme has issued a warning that it may be forced to suspend all emergency food and nutrition assistance for 1.3 million people in the northeast Nigeria by the end of July due to a severe funding shortfall. WFP's Regional Director for Western Central Africa, Margaret van de Velden, made the disclosure while briefing UN correspondents on the worsening humanitarian crisis in the region. Van de Velden said the agency urgently needs $130 million to sustain its emergency food and nutrition support operations over the next 6 months. In politics, President Bola Tinubu has met with governors elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress ahead of the party's National Executive Committee meeting scheduled for today. The delegation was led by the chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum and Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma. The meeting was held at the State House in Abuja. Speaking to State House correspondents afterward, Governor Uzodinma said the engagement with the president was aimed at strengthening the APC and boosting its capacity to deliver good governance to Nigerians. Meanwhile, the ruling party has announced a change in the venue and time of their next meeting. According to a statement by APC National Publicity Secretary Felix Moka, the meeting will now take place at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa, Abuja, and is scheduled to begin at 12 p.m. Ahead of the crucial National Executive Committee meeting of the People's Democratic Party scheduled for today, Chairman of the PDP Governors Forum and Governor of Bauchi State, Baba-Ahmed, has convened a strategic caucus meeting at the Bauchi State Governors Lodge in Abuja. The closed-door session was attended by 7 PDP governors, Sheyi Makinde of Oyo, Caleb Muftuang of Plateau, Amadou Finteri of Ademawa, Dauda Lawal of Zamfara, and the host, Bala-Ahmed. Also in attendance were key national party leaders, including the acting national chairman, Umaru Damagun, and national secretary, Senator Samuel Anyangu, and several members of the PDP Board of Trustees. Today's NEC meeting is expected to ratify key decisions earlier taken by the National Working Committee, particularly those relating to preparations for the upcoming national election convention. The caucus meeting is viewed as part of ongoing effort to strengthen party unity and leadership cohesion ahead of the 2027 general elections. Still talking politics, Hezekiah Bamiji, the senior special advisor on media to Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke, has described the defection of 2 senators, Francis Fadahunsi and Olubuyi Fadeyi, from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress as a miscalculation. Speaking during a television interview today, Bamiji said the lawmakers had assumed Governor Adeleke was planning to defect to the APC, and in doing so, fell into what he called the trap of the ruling party at the federal level. He emphasized that Governor Adeleke does not need to join the APC to deliver good governance to the people of Osun State. Senators of Fadahunsi, representing Osun East, and Fadeyi, representing Osun Central, were among 4 senators formally received into the APC from the PDP on Wednesday, further strengthening the party's majority in the upper chamber. You're watching the Media News, and it's time for the Media News analysis. And joining us to help make sense of today's Media News is Mr. Dele Fanimo, VOP TV in-house analyst and a reporter. And also we have, though joining us virtually, we have Ihimose Omoaka, who is a public affairs analyst and development communication analyst too. Good afternoon, Mr. Fanimo.
Good afternoon, Fina.
Good to have you join today's Media News.
Thank you so much.
Let's establish communication with Ihimose Omoaka. Good afternoon. If you can hear me.
Yeah, I can
All
hear
right.
you.
All right. Good to have you join today's Media News.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Interesting. Let me start off with you, Mr. Ihimose Omoaka. We're looking at defection and how some persons are perceiving this particular one. This has to do with what is playing out in Osun State, where we learned that 2 PDP elected, National Assembly members, senators, defected from PDP to APC. And according to what the person in charge, or rather who happens to manage the affairs or the communication principal of the governor of Osun State, Bamiji, said that the lawmakers assumed that Governor Adeleke was planning to defect to APC, and then they fell into the trap. What do you make of this particular statement, please?
I will also consider it as normal political rhetoric. We all know where Adeleke is tilted to, but the fact that he has not decamped does not mean that there is no possibility that he will decamp. You understand? So the Nigerian political elite, especially those at the helm of affairs now, they will say one thing, the next minute they are doing the next thing. So I would not want us to jump into conclusion. Adeleke has an election, a re-election coming up, and I just like what many people are saying, is as good as being in APC already, because yesterday he has come out to, is it yesterday or a few days ago, he has come out to commend the president. You understand? So endorsing the president is more or less for independent analysts like me, is more or less like you are also saying that you are in tune with what the president is doing, despite the realities of the misgovernance of the.
Mr. Imose, are you in any way applying that even the likes of the governor of Anambra State, Chikuma Charles Saludo, who also come open to say that the party will not feed in any presidential candidate, by endorsing the present president? Are you saying that they are now members of the APC? Because he made mention of that he's supporting the ambition of the president to go on.
Just like a lot of people will tell you, even Soludo, you understand, they are more or less members of the APC by extension, because they make opposition politics to look as if it's not in existence again in Nigeria. So for me, it's as good as them being there, because we all know why people like Soludo is also supporting the governors and the president re-election. Is nothing but merely politics. He wants. They are all thinking that if they endorse the president, then they will not get the fate of being the president or the federal government using the state machineries to decide if they will get their re-election or not.
Now, talking about using the state machineries to decide, are you saying that the president now, has an upper hand or the final say in all the state wings and everything?
It is obvious from the previous election that have been conducted in the recent past, the Edo election, for instance. We saw how INEC was used massively against the PDP in Edo State, for instance. You understand? We have seen it is also clear that INEC has now been reduced to an arm of the APC. So most of these governors in the other platform like Soludo, in their own thinking is that if they support the president's election, then automatically the president will not bring down the state machineries against them during their own re-election. So
the Edo State election he made mention of, it was the Supreme Court that gave the final verdict by making Monday Obabolo the governor of the state, during their ruling. So are you now saying, implying that the president also have a hand in that? And also I would like to get your opinion, when you answer that, on the fact that we have a bill that made it to, that some person actually are pushing to the National Assembly, talking about bringing in the Nigeria Judicial Council into selecting or appointing the chairman of the electoral umpire, INEC. What do you have to say about that too? If in any way you're saying that the president actually is the one controlling the state.
Until INEC as the electoral umpire becomes truly independent in every sense of it, without you have an INEC where the executive will not be commissioning the rebuilding of their headquarters, will not be in charge of directly in charge of nominating electoral commissioners, the INEC chairman, and the officers of the INEC as an umpire. Until that happens, it's more or less an arm of the government in operation. The government of the day decides how INEC operates. Then, except INEC becomes truly independent, it's I don't see anything good coming out from it.
Let me get your opinion on the truly independence you're preaching now for INEC. What do you think we need to put in place for that to happen? Some are suggesting we should use the Nigeria Judicial Council now, getting them involved in selecting the chairman of that umpire. Do you also share the line of thought that bringing the NJC into this is going to help curb the issue of non-dependence of INEC?
With the current state of the judiciary, I don't think the NJC has any remarkable thing to do concerning that, because the judiciary more or less has been in supporting the misgovernance that has been happening in Nigeria in the past 8 years. understand? The judiciary, especially the Judicial Council, they have nothing to write home about. There are a lot of judges where there have been, where people have written petitions against. What has the NGC done? So the NGC, is it composed of people who are not members of judiciary? No. So if that is not the case, then I don't think there's anything good that will also come out from it.
Are you saying that the suspension of some judges that we see from the NJC, it happened just last month and, you know, the months before that, and also the placing of some judges also on watch list sanctions that some judges have gotten from NJC, you know, cannot or should not be applauded by Nigeria, because you ask what have they done? And, you know, these actually are...
has the suspension or the warning to the judges serve as a deterrent to other judges? The answer is no. Are the judges acting different from the way before those actions were taken? The answer is no. So it's more or less like just an exercise in futility. So I don't think anything serious has actually happened with the way NJC has been conducting its affairs.
All right, talking about serious matters, now let's bring it to the studio. Mr. Fanimo, we got a report today that United Nations World Food Programme issued a stern warning that they might be forced to suspend the emergency food and nutrition assistance, and this actually is going to affect 1.3 million Nigerians in the Northeast. What do you have to say about this when they are coming up to cite the issue of funding shortfall, saying that they need approximately $130 million to continue with their campaign in the Northeast? What do you have to say, please, regarding this?
You see, the point is, President Trump had already shown us the direction of the Western world in looking towards Africa for them to assist us in terms of grants, in terms of support, and the rest of it. The point is, clearly, if United States is just like United Nations, whatever United States says is what the United Nations will follow. And they also have veto power. So technically, once US withdraws its aid, definitely African people that are benefiting from this aid will suffer. And within the 100 days of Trump's assumption of office, he clearly showed us his direction in terms of giving grants and aid to Africa. So what that also tells us is that we should look inwards and begin to think of ways and means of ensuring the survival of our people. And in doing this, what is $130 million for 1.3 million children that are either displaced or lack basic amenities, particularly food? Somebody from this part of the country may not understand what is meant to say Nigeria will be in trouble if such aid fail to come. The majority of the people that we are talking about here are the Almajiris. And you know the menacing way they grab food from people's table at restaurants and some other places, public places. So that is to show you that there is so much malnutrition, there is so much hunger in that part of the country. And unfortunately, the money that is supposed to be taken care of, to be used to take care of these people, it lies in the vaults of some Nigerians that they don't even have immediate use for these funds. $130 million is like 130 billion naira. Check through the list of cases in EFCC against some politically exposed people. This money, just one person will release it as plea bargain, and he walks out of the court and is enjoying his loot.
So you're saying that Nigeria
is
a fraction.
We are rich. We are rich. We shouldn't cry over little things like this. What is $130 million? somebody is facing several count charges on corruption, totaling about 180 billion naira. Convert that to dollar, is over $130 million, just one person. And we have series of them like that. Emefiele, they just recovered 753 houses from him. And the value of each of these houses is about 200 million naira. Multiplied by 753. Is that not enough to take care of some of these things? Apart from the other assets that had been confiscated. We have series of them that are holding on to Nigeria's future. And unfortunately, majority of them don't even get to spend this money. You know how much we have lost to Swiss Bank and some other offshore banks just because the people that stole our money didn't give access to the code to their children and wives.
So how do we mitigate all this, like you just pointed out now?
We need to fight corruption, and we need to fight corruption to the extent that even the whole world will know that we're fighting corruption.
Fight it in what aspect, please?
For instance, all these politically exposed persons, let us recover our money from them. By all means possible, legally. And it starts with the FCC and ICPC. These are agents of government that are supposed to go after these politically exposed people. They should stop playing to the gallery. Get people that are known to be upright, that have integrity, surplus. And then let's face this corruption. Once we face corruption, the gold that is being mined illegally in Zamfara is enough to take care of the whole of the north, if properly annexed and used for the benefit of Nigerians.
From the boss's desire of EFCC and even that of ICPC sometimes coming up to tell Nigerians that powers that be, are stifling their effort in curbing corruption in Nigeria. How do you think they are going to navigate this? When we know that some of them are being appointed also by some political office holders.
You see, the point is, there comes a time in the political life of a country that somebody will say no to all these shenanigans. And it has not come, but I am believing and I'm hoping that it will come sooner than we expect.
Thank you so much for that. I also need to get your opinion on the fact that you just say something about $130 million being a little money. In the words of Toga, Toga said that Nigeria, that we are rich. We can sponsor the president to anywhere we want to go to. Now, how rich of a nation are we when yesterday, or 2 days ago, the Senate approved $1.19 billion external borrowing plan for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. And in that particular borrowing, the approval they gave, we have a 4 billion euro, 15 billion Japanese yen, $65 million grant, and 757 billion naira in domestic bond. And then also, we have another borrowing of 350-something million also for the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. Then how rich of a nation are we if we still depend? Remember that one of the senators who are defending this borrowing saying that this money, some of the money is actually is already embedded in the fiscal framework of the 2025 running. So how rich of a nation are we? Want to keep on borrowing?
I'm not surprised that government is borrowing, because the 2025 budget was predicated on assumptions that I said it when that budget came out last year, that this budget is not realistic. I knew that there was no way oil price will peak at $75 per barrel. And so that was what we were banking on. And today, oil price is just a little bit over $60. And so what are we talking about? So something has to come in to show up that gap. Then the taxman needs to also up his game to the extent that, look, IOCs are owing us $18 billion. Recover that one, you know what it means for the economy. NNPC, nobody has been able to probe it in the last 10 years. They're just deceiving us. You imagine Ojulari rebuffing National Assembly, having called him to come and explain certain things more than 2-3 times. He's not even going back to tell them why he will not be around. What impunity? What deviance? And National Assembly is just there, and they couldn't issue bench warrant on him to come by all means to the National Assembly. I mean, it's just that.
And maybe he's taking a cue from the sole administrator not answering also when he was summoned. Now, let me get your opinion on the fact that Senator Natasha Agbotio-Duagan, was detained by immigration officers when she and her husband were leaving the country for United Kingdom for a child's, graduation. What do you have to say about this? And they say, according to the reports we have, that this particular detention was in line with the directives of the leadership of the National Assembly. Please help us walk around this.
Technically,
you know the story thus far, so
technically it's the National Assembly that issued that instruction, placing her on the watch list. And watch list, I suppose, should be for criminally exposed people. So, and up till now, nobody has told us that Natasha has committed any criminal offense that will warrant her being listed. You have not listed Boko Haram members. You have not listed bandits. You have not listed kidnappers. To the extent that even Evans in his jail is asking for plea bargain. So what is he going to exchange for the number of people he has killed in the past? So for me, it's just like a kind of is this series of what do you call it now? Season film. That may not.
So I think this is more like a series. Act 1, so we'll have to get season 1, season 2. All right, let's get you into this. Ihimose Omwaka, let's get your own thoughts on this one. The detention of the suspended senator representing Kogi Central by immigration officers, and they say that they are working actually with the directives of the leadership of the Senate. Please.
Okay, I don't think, but we've not heard from the Senate itself to know why they are stopping her from traveling out from the country. But I don't think she has committed any offense.
Now, does the Senate have the right to suspend anyone's movement? I'm not talking about now the state. Does the Senate or leadership of the Senate has the right to restrict people's movement?
That's been part of the bane of this present government problem. You understand? They've been a lot of things has been happening. A lot of illegality has been happening. So people are even tired. You understand? First, she was stopped from accessing the National Assembly after the court has given a clear order that the Senate does not have any right to suspend her. And now she's traveling, and we are hearing this. So under this present government, I think this government is a government of illegality. So it's sad, and it's not telling well about the image of Nigeria in the global stage.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Ihimose Omwaka, for a submission. You're watching the Media News and Voice of the People television, and we'll be speaking with Mr. Dele Fanimo, a seasoned reporter and VOP TV in-house analyst. And we had the opportunity to speak to Ihimose Omwaka, who happens to be a public affairs analyst and a development communication analyst too. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of today.
It's always my pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Ihimose. Glad to have you.
Nice.
All right. You're still watching the Media News and Voice of the People television. We'll go on a quick break, and when we'll come back, the rest of the bulletin continues. Glad to have you back. It's still the Media News and Voice of the People television. Ahead of the November 8 governorship elections in Anambra State, The 16 political parties involved are beginning to preach their manifesto to the people of the state using different methods. While some have officially flagged off their campaigns, many others prefer to begin with tours of local government or strategic stakeholders meeting. VOP correspondent in Anambra, Ndo Baleze, has more.
The 15 other political parties appear to dwell on scrutinizing one policy decision or the other taken by the incumbent APGA administration, while Governor Chukwuma Soludo do more of market visitations and coming down to the level of the street to get more support and sympathy. Recently, Soludo and his team were interacting with traders at Oyeneni Market and Wago Aglo Junction, and even engaged the elderly men in playing of game known as draft in local parlance. But for the African Democratic Congress, its gubernatorial candidate, Mr. John Nwosu, and running mate, Dr. Ndubisi Nwobu, feel they should start with a Thanksgiving church service before the official campaign program. Speaking to newsmen shortly after the service at St. Faith Anglican Cathedral Church, Oka, Mr. Nwosu said the Anambra polls is a test case for the ADC party. He criticized the APGA government security plans and promised to bring e-governance to bear in every aspect of security if elected into office.
What I'm bringing on a short form is e-government. E-government, I'm bringing technology right from security. Security is not a rocket science. But they get the right personnel, which Nigerian government has. The policemen, the conventional security, they are good people. All they need is assistance. Pay them well, train them well, give them more equipment, and then cover the art. So this is the conventional add technology to it. Artificial intelligence power CCTV in the major cities of Anambra State.
Dr. Nwobu underscored the essence of beginning with God through Thanksgiving service.
We come from a dedication service so that before the altar of God, those who are the officiating priests can be able to dedicate, give our aspiration into the good Lord. And because of campaigning, God needs to grant you protection.
Chief George Mogalo of the Labour Party had already kicked off his campaign at Onitsha, where the 2023 presidential candidate of the party, Mr. Peter Obi, conspicuously identified with him.
Flagging off our campaign, and we are flagging it off, urging all of you to go to your constituencies, work hard and convince people.
It will be recalled that the All Progressive Congress APC candidate, Chief Nicholas Okachukwu, and his running mate, Senator Uche Ekwunife, recently concluded what it called a thank you visit to all the 21 local government areas of the state ahead of a mega launch that will follow suit. For the People's Democratic Party PDP, whose governorship candidate, Chief Jude Rezenwafo, is currently recuperating from a gunshot wound sustained recently in Abuja, it may still take a while to make a noticeable showing in the electioneering campaign.
Ndo Baleze for the reporter. Now to education. The federal government has announced plans to launch Diaspora Bridge, a new digital platform designed to connect Nigerian academics and professionals in diaspora with universities and research institutions across the country. The initiative, spearheaded by the Ministry of Education, aims to boost research output, encourage academic collaboration, and enhance institutional capacity by leveraging diaspora expertise. According to a statement signed by the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Ministry, Boriowo Folashade, the launch event will take place at the State House in Abuja. Vice President Kashim Shettima is expected to preside over the event alongside the Minister of Education, Maruf Alausa. Diaspora Bridge, short for Bridging Research, Innovation, Development, and Global Engagement, will enable registered diaspora experts to showcase their areas of specialization and connect directly with Nigerian tertiary institutions. Nigerians have been urged to guard against fake news and misinformation by verifying information before publication, a call that underscores the vital role of professional journalists. This message took center stage at the Lateef Jakonde Annual Memorial Lecture, a colloquium organized by the Nigerian Guild of Editors to honor the first civilian governor of Lagos State, who served from 1979 to 1983. VOP TV's Matthew Ogunswada has more in this report.
Journalists and members of the Nigerian Guild of Editors for the annual Lateef Jakonde Memorial Lecture. With the theme, Journalism and the Challenges of Nation Building in a Multi-Ethnic Society, the event spotlighted the legacy of the first civilian governor of Lagos, Alhaji Lateef Jakonde, also known as Baba Kekere, who ruled from 1979 to 1983. The special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, alongside other key stakeholders, stressed the vital role of journalism in promoting order and unity in a diverse nation like Nigeria.
We need to really enforce the rules that govern our profession. If you get any piece of information, check. Is it correct? If it's not correct, don't run with it. Don't say because somebody has written it, it's a gospel. You need to verify it. Verify your information. I think just come across. If we keep writing fake news all over the place, one day, with our pen, we will set our country on fire. As journalists, we occupy a unique and strategic position. We have the power to influence narrative, shape opinion, and promote national values.
Delivering the keynote address, Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, represented by Dr. Aminu Hassan, emphasized the need for media literacy in addressing national issues, while other speakers called for a value-driven media landscape.
Journalists must not only write truths, they must live it, like all of us. The veterans must mentor, the institutions must reform, and we must invest in civic education, media literacy, and training that equips the next generation with not just tools, but with a mission. If only those who hold power begin to hold it with simplicity, begin to hold it with a sense of responsibility to the people, to society, then things will be better for our country.
There are no citizen doctors, there are no citizen lawyers, there cannot be citizen journalists. You are either a journalist or you are a hacker.
The media has paid the steepest price to nation building, for nation building in this country called Nigeria. There is no other segment of the society that we have today that has paid the price that we have paid and that we continue to pay.
The Lagos State Commissioner for Information, Benga Omotosho, joined other stakeholders in advocating for national consciousness, responsible journalism, the fight against fake news, and a return to the core values exemplified by the late Alhaji Lateef Jakonde.
People should know that technology is something that if we use, it will help humanity. And that if we misuse it, it's going to hurt humanity. Fake news has caused several things: violence, chaos, even death in several instances. So all of us should see it as a threat that we are all facing as professionals.
A lot of the so-called citizen journalists are not trained, so they don't understand the ethics of the profession. So if you understand the profession, you will know that you are obliged to do those things that you need to do first before you publish any news. So to curb it is just for us to take our professionalism seriously and remember that you hold whatever medium in trust for the people.
Coming from what I've experienced, with my late dad, Alhaji Lateef Jakonde, I think one thing that is very, very important and crucial to a very successful, in any form of career that one chooses to be, is that act of contentment.
With conversations centered on ethics and nation building, it's clear that journalism can only thrive when truth is upheld, facts respected, and integrity remains non-negotiable. Matthew Oguswada, reporting for Voice of the People TV.
Matthew Oguswada for that. Thank you, Matthew Oguswada, for that report. Now to business segment. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Wale Edun, has welcomed the release of Nigeria's rebased 2024 gross domestic product figures and the Q1, that's a Q1 2025 GDP growth estimate of 3.13%. In a statement issued in Abuja, the Director of Information and Public Relations at the Ministry, Mohammed Manga, described the figure as an important signal of the country's economic resilience and renewed momentum. In sports, the Super Falcons have arrived at Rabat ahead of the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations final clash with host, the Atlas Lioness of Morocco. Coach Justin Amadogo's side is scheduled to hold the first training session later this evening at the FUS Academy. In the world of entertainment, Burna Boy's recently released 8 project No Sign of Weakness has debuted at number 200 on the Billboard 200 album chart, selling 8,800 units in the United States during its opening week. The album marks his 5th entry on the Billboard 200, making Burna Boy the Nigerian artist with the most albums to appear on the chart, further solidifying his status as one of the most commercially successful African artists in the U.S. And that is it on the Media News and Voice of the People television. Before we go, a quick look at the headlines. Immigration briefly detained Senator Natasha Boto-Dwagan in Abuja airport. Troops fought Boko Haram attacks, kill commander in Borno. WFP warns of food aid suspension in Northeast. Tinubu APC governors meet before NEC meeting. PDP governors met ahead of NEC session. We told you also that during the Lateef Jakonde Memorial Lectures, there was a call for media responsibility in business. GDP rebase and FG welcomes rebased GDP and first quarter growth data. Falcons touched down in Rabat for finals. That was on the sports news. And in entertainment, Burna Boy sets Nigerian record on Billboard 200. Do all to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are VOP TV Live. Up next is the Spotlight Show with Onyin Damola Olokuton. I am Fina Okechukwu. Good afternoon.